Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of the Atlanta United Staying Up Challenge. If you missed the first episode, make sure you check the playlist down in the description. Basically, this series is going to be Atlanta United in the Premier League. After we ended up winning the MLS Cup last season, in the MLS, I decided to give myself a little bit more of a challenge because it was a little too easy. So I threw myself in the Premier League, and I want to see if I can actually stay up because obviously this team is a lot weaker than most of the teams in the Premier League, if not all of them. So it's really going to come down to my FIFA skill and, kind of the overpoweredness of Joseph Martinez and Miguel Almiron. The first episode started out really well. A lot of goals scored in that first game of the season. But for the second game of the season, we're going to be going to Anfield and playing Liverpool. So obviously this is a lot more of a challenge. This is really going to be the big test of how overpowered some of my players are, but also looking at the ability that I have in this game. And this is still pre-patch, the most recent patch that came out, so take that as you will. I had the last video I uploaded about the new player we're bringing in, Franco Escobar. That was in the new update. It really didn't feel too much different for me because I do a lot more skill passing than I do like 180 passes and stuff like that. So I think it helps out a lot with this team. They're all very decent passers. So if you can hit those fancy passes and stuff like that, you're going to end up passing a lot better in the new update. But again, this is the old update. Here is the lineup for Liverpool. Going for in the back, Emre Can at CDM, Lana and Henderson at the center mid positions, and that beautiful top three of Mane, Firmino, and Coutinho. So definitely going to be a hard game. That's a lot of pace coming at a very slow defense for Atlanta United, but I think if we can get out to an early lead in this game, we should do really well. You're going to see the lineup here. You guys know the lineup. Anton Walks, Michael Parkhurst, LGP and Garza, Lorenowitz and Carmona at the center mid, and the top three, of course, Villalba, Almiron, Assad, and then Martinez at that number one spot. So definitely a lot of ability going forward. Definitely goals will be scored in this series. I really don't know what to do after this season if we do end up just smoking the Premier League. Obviously, I don't think we're going to win the Premier League, but if we can at least somewhat, I'm going to try to win one of the cups to try to get into the Europa League next season, and then that'll really give us a challenge. So hopefully by then it'll actually give us a lot of challenge there. But here you see a beautiful turn from Joseph Martinez. I was actually amazed at how fast he made this turn, even watching it back right now. The second he gets this pass to his foot, he just turns it beautifully and leaves the defense in the dust and just gets a beautiful little goal here. So we go 1-0 up right off a kickoff. Doing Joseph Martinez things, just scoring real early on, and that is 2 goals in 2 games for Joseph Martinez. So it does look like it's going to be another good season for the Joseph Martinez type of play. Here we're going to go straight to the end of the first half. Not much going on. Definitely opportunities to score for both teams. As you see here, got really close, but just couldn't break down the defense enough to actually get a really good opportunity on goal. But you see there, Miguel Almiron 84% passing, and Henderson at 88. So definitely very good passing for both sides, but just kind of not being able to get into that final third and getting a really good opportunity to beat one of the keepers. So we go into the second half, which takes us all the way to the end of the game in the 88th minute. Miguel Almiron picked up a slight injury at this point. Joseph Martinez still had the pace in the game and manages to get on the back foot of the defense and just smashes it across the face of the goal and grabs himself a second goal in this game, giving us a 2-0 lead at Anfield against Liverpool, which is absolutely incredible. So if we can come out with a result like this at Anfield, it makes me feel a lot better. There's definitely going to be games where we drop points. There's definitely going to be games where we end up struggling, maybe against the top 6, maybe against a mid-table team. So we need to take our advantage of the wins we can. I will say that some of these games against the bigger clubs may end up being easier than kind of anticipated, because I am going to be the lowest rated team in the league. So a lot of these teams are going to be playing lower quality squads. It didn't happen here. Managed to play basically the starting 11 of Liverpool. but just didn't end up going their way today. But I would imagine here when we play Manchester United, Manchester City, teams like that, they're going to be playing their second team at least in some sort of fashion. So we'll see how things go from there. I know there's definitely teams that I'm going to be worried about playing against. Here they get a really good opportunity in the 90th minute, but Roberto Firmino ends up just putting it off of goal a little bit and misses his opportunity. So that is going to be the end of the first game in this episode, and we managed to grab a 2-0 win on the road at Anfield, which is absolutely incredible. As you see there, my manager shaking hands with the man himself, Jurgen Klopp. So definitely really good to get the win there. But we are going to move into the next game, which is actually going to be against Swansea City. It's going to be an interesting game. Again, really every single game is going to be difficult. I can't underestimate any of these teams, whether they're lower league or bottom of the table, mid-table, top table. They're all technically better teams on paper than Atlanta United. So you kind of just have to take every game like it's the hardest game of the season. So we're going to take that mindset, play our best every single game, play our starting 11 as often as possible. Obviously, once these cup games start coming in, it'll make it a little bit more difficult. But the priority is going to be making sure that we stay up in the league, and as long as we're somewhat in the mid-table, even close to that relegation line, I'm still going to be playing at least as close as possible to the starting 11 in cup games. I want to try to win at least one, if not both, of the cups. Obviously, the FA Cup getting us into the Europa League. I can't remember in FIFA if winning the Carabao Cup ends up putting you into the Europa League as well, but we'll just try to win it because I think it's a good cup to go after as a lower part of the league team. Obviously, we're not winning the league in our first season, but I feel like if we put in the effort, we could definitely win one or two of the cups and try to take them away from the bigger clubs. So again, let me know what kind of players you guys want to see me sign. There's definitely a lot of players I have in my mind. I still want to bring in Franco Escobar, even though he's going to be a lower rated player. I think he'll be good for the bench. We can train him up and get him some very good opportunities in the team. Obviously, we'll lose Anton in the January transfer window because this does go by MLS schedule for the contracts for our loanee players. So we need to try to re-sign Yamil Assad and Greg Garza. See what we want to do with Anton Walks. He probably won't be returning to the club, but if we can get a good price for him from Tottenham, then maybe we'll do that as well. Here you see we get a very lucky penalty very early on in this game on the very edge of the box. Mawson ends up just taking us down, and Joseph Martinez is going to have an opportunity to step up and grab himself a fourth goal, I believe, in 3 games. So very good opportunity here. Hopefully we can capitalize on that. But like I said, we're going to end up losing 3 players, so that gives us a lot of opportunities. Obviously, we're not playing by MLS rules. We can sign whoever we want as long as they're in our transfer budget. We're going to have around $20 million to spend, I believe, by the window. So I tried to run to the camera here, ended up running straight past the camera and to the crowd. But we managed to grab a goal here against Lucas Fabianski and go 2-0 up in this game. Oh, I'm sorry. That's actually not Lucas Fabianski. I'm not sure who that is in goal. I don't even know who Swansea's keeper is anymore. But regardless, you see there Joseph Martinez and Jeff Lorenowitz celebrating. It ended up that Joseph Martinez picked up a slight injury in that tackle, but we did leave him on for the majority of this game, I believe, to just kind of see if he could play it out, and I believe it was just a bruised shoulder and he was out for a couple days, so nothing too bad there. He'll be ready for the next game regardless. But Yamil Assad ends up trying to get and play a little bit of defense, but bad deflection ends up going off of the player, and they grab a goal to make it 1-1 in this game. So Abraham managing to grab himself a goal. Like I said, every single game we're going to have to play like it's the hardest game of the season. You don't know what kind of form these teams are going to come in on. You don't know how they're going to play on the day. And like I said, every single one of these teams are going to be better than us. So we could end up losing to some really low-level teams and end up beating some pretty big giants just depending on the day. When it does come to FIFA, anytime I've done like a challenge series, I have kind of had that mindset of being like a giant slayer, where I did a series with Ibar in FIFA 17, I believe, or maybe it was FIFA 16, and that series is on the channel. But I ended up beating Barcelona and Real Madrid almost every single time in La Liga, so a lot of a lot of fun happened there. So if we can just keep doing stuff like that and then end up getting decent results on the road against some of these lower level teams, I think we'll be fine. Here you see we brought Kenwin Jones in at the end of the game, and he actually made a really good run here late on in the game and just got a pass to Miguel Almiron, who was on the counterattack with him. A little bit of pace left in his tank for Miguel Almiron, and he's just able to pull the keeper out enough so that he could shoot that past him across the face of goal and grab himself a goal in this game. So it was really good to get the lead and actually the win in this game. It was definitely a tough game, obviously taking us to the 88th minute to grab a second goal to win it. But at home, you push forward, you make the right substitutions. Julian Gressel maybe not making the most notable of appearances whenever he's in on the game, but he definitely feels good and nonetheless. Here they had a really good opportunity straight off a kickoff, but Brad Guzan ends up coming up with a save. He's definitely a player that we're most likely going to have to replace. I think Brad will do us really well for that second position. I have a feeling we are going to end up losing Alec because Alec's going to want to play more games, and I just cannot justify putting him in the Premier League. So chances are Brad's going to be our backup keeper. As long as we can kind of convince him that, we can end up bringing in a keeper for him as well. So let me know in the comment section below what kind of keeper you want to see, what defender you want to see alongside Franco when I bring him in, because his potential is only 73 rated. If you guys do want to see a video about Franco Escobar, the projected newest signing of Atlanta United, definitely go check that video out on my channel. I did 2 games playing with him in right back and center back. He looks to be a very good player for FIFA. I think he'll fit in very well with the team, but his potential is only 73 rated, so he's not going to be a player that's going to be able to stick around very long probably and start a lot of games for us in the Premier League series. He'll do well in the MLS series, which will come back at some point. If you guys want to see player career mode as well, let me know in the comment section below. I haven't really recorded that recently. I kind of got stuck in this career mode, and I've recorded like 5 episodes of this. So I need to go back and play some player career mode. I need to go back and play the MLS career mode, but those videos will come. I did want to focus a little bit on this and get a running start on this challenge though. So here our third game is going to be against Burnley on the road at Turf Moor. Definitely a hard game. Burnley is one of those lower league teams that the way that they play can be kind of difficult to play against. They have pace and weird spots in their team. They counterattack well, and they have that mindset of a lower level team where they'll play on the back foot and not really care too much. Here we had a pretty good opportunity building forward with Joseph Martinez trying to get the ball forward, but it ends up falling to Burnley, and they get a nice little counterattack here. And you're just going to kind of see nice passing. They do well on the counterattack. They're always pushing forward. None of their players are ever passing back. And here they manage to just pass the ball in, and we concede one of the ugliest goals of FIFA history. And Brad Guzan just barely misses this ball, and you'll see it in the replay. But Vokes is able to give them the 1-0 lead very, very early on in this game. And that's kind of one of the first times that we've gone down this early. We're usually the team that scores off of the front foot and making a very good position for us, but we end up going down, and Vokes grabs himself a goal. So that's really going to be all that happens in the first half too. Again, Burnley, one of those types of teams, they know what they're playing for. They're not really going for the win, so whenever they do get up, they're usually just going to try to play possession as much as possible and get themselves, as much possession and as much control in the game. They're going to sit back a little bit more. They're going to play for that win, or really even a draw. They're a low league team. That's really the big thing about when you play the higher teams is they're always going to be going for the win. They're always going to be trying to push forward and grab more goals, and you can usually catch them on the back foot on that. And get a lot of opportunities for yourself. So that's usually why I do a lot better against the bigger teams, and then the lower level teams like this, I'm not as strong against. But here we had a very good penalty opportunity. I didn't think the keeper was going to stay down the middle. I don't think I've ever seen the keeper stay down the middle playing against the AI, but they did that time, and we end up missing out on a penalty opportunity there. But in the 90th minute, we get one more opportunity pushing forward. Obviously have a lot of bodies in the box. At this point, we were playing like a 3-5-2, just trying to get any opportunities we could, but ended up not working out for us, and they're just going to run the ball down the field and try to run out the clock. So we are going to end up losing this game 1-0, which was a little disappointing, but 6 points from the episode and a win from Anfield is absolutely great. So that is going to be the end of this episode. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next one, I will see you guys later.
I think he was the best performer in a good team today. The kind of players that we expect, the kind of performances we expect from the individuals. And a try one now.